He built a cake empire with his bare hands. Then a metal rod ripped one of them apart. What happened next? You won't believe who stepped in to save him. Buddy Valastro was the king of cake, a TV icon, a family man, and the mastermind behind some of the most jaw-dropping desserts the world had ever seen. But at the height of his fame, everything came crashing down, literally. A freak accident, a public fall from grace, and personal battles that nearly erased everything he built. So what really happened to the cake boss? And how did he claw his way back from the edge? Let's rewind. You think you've had pressure? Imagine being 17 and overnight your childhood ends. That was Buddy Valastro. No degree, no business experience, no backup plan, just a promise, and a dead father. Before the lights, the cameras, and the million-dollar cakes, Buddy was a quiet kid in Hoboken, New Jersey. His family? Classic Italian-American, tight-knit, tough, and always in the kitchen. And at the center of it all was Carlo's Bakery, a little neighborhood shop that smelled like vanilla, flour, and espresso. While other kids were riding bikes and chasing dreams, Buddy was learning to knead dough and pipe frosting with military precision. His father, Bartolo Sr., was his hero, a hard-working immigrant who believed in discipline, tradition, and passing something real to the next generation. But then, boom, tragedy. Lung cancer came fast. It didn't ask. It didn't wait. One day, his father was icing cakes. The next, he was gone. Buddy was just a teenager, and suddenly he wasn't a kid anymore. The business didn't pause to grieve. The rent didn't stop. The ovens didn't shut down. And all eyes were on Buddy. The boy expected to become a man immediately. No college, no culinary school, just a grieving heart and the crushing weight of legacy. He made one final promise to his father before he died. I'll make Carlo's Bakery famous. I'll make you proud. Most kids crumble under pressure. Buddy, he doubled down, and what he did next would shock everyone. For years, he was grinding in silence. Long nights, early mornings, bleeding fingers and burned arms, just to keep the bakery alive. He wasn't building a business, he was surviving one. But behind that survival, a spark, something different. Buddy wasn't just making cakes, he was crafting edible art, massive sculpted creations that looked like they belonged in museums, not dessert tables. Race cars, castles, life-sized animals, all made of sugar. Now people started whispering about the kid from Hoboken. Bridal magazines took notice. Local media showed up. Orders started flying in. But the real turning point? One episode, one cake, one national TV appearance. In 2007, Buddy appeared on Food Network Challenge, a high-stakes bake-off that separated real talent from wannabes. The producers expected a skilled baker. What they got? A storm. He wasn't just good, he was magnetic. Loud, fast, funny, intense. He barked orders, cracked jokes, and turned a simple cake into a full-blown performance. The audience couldn't look away. Neither could the producers. They didn't just see a baker, they saw ratings. Backstage, phone calls started happening. Contracts got drafted. TLC stepped in. And just like that, Cake Boss was born. The show exploded. This wasn't your typical cooking show. It was real family drama meets high-stakes pastry. The shouting, the deadlines, the chaos, the tears, the cakes that shouldn't be possible. It was The Sopranos with buttercream. Buddy's sisters were feisty. His brother-in-law was a character. Every episode had a new challenge, a new client, and a new fire to put out. And people ate it up. Within months, Buddy went from local baker to international icon. From kneading dough in the back of a Hoboken shop to walking red carpets and opening bakeries in Brazil. But here's what nobody saw coming. The same hands that made him famous would almost destroy him. Buddy wasn't just building cakes anymore. He was building a kingdom. The moment Cake Boss exploded, the floodgates opened. Suddenly, Buddy Valastro wasn't just a baker from Hoboken. He was a brand, a celebrity, a machine. And the demand? Insane. People lined up for hours outside Carlo's Bakery. Fans flew in from around the world just to catch a glimpse of the storefront. The sidewalks were packed, the street buzzed like Times Square. Tour buses rolled up every morning like it was a rock concert. But Buddy wasn't content with the fame. He used it. Like jet fuel, he expanded fast. 18 bakeries across the US and beyond, from Las Vegas to Sao Paulo, Brazil. Each one had the same signature flavors, the same old-school charm, the same giant cakes that made jaws drop. Then he pushed further. Which part of Buddy's story shocked you the most? Was it the accident, the scandals, the comeback? Drop a comment and let me know your thoughts. I want to hear your take on Buddy's journey. Did it change how you see him? In 2013, he launched Buddy V's Ristorante in Vegas, a full-on Italian restaurant built on his mother's original recipes. He didn't just want to be known for cake. He wanted to own the entire flavor of his childhood: pasta, pizza, cannoli, legacy. Then came Pizza Cake, a wild, fast casual spot that served over-the-top slices and desserts so big they broke Instagram. But he still wasn't done. Buddy knew fans didn't just want to watch the magic, they wanted to do it themselves. So he launched baking kits, custom cake tools, frosting turntables, and his own line of baking ingredients. Walmart, Target, online. You could now decorate cakes in your kitchen with the same gear Buddy used on TV. He had cookbooks, appearances, endorsements, spin-offs. TV networks couldn't get enough. Next Great Baker, Kitchen Boss, Buddy's Bakery Rescue, and the fan favorite Buddy vs. Duff, where two baking giants went head-to-head in a battle for sweet supremacy. He was everywhere, all at once. But here's what people didn't see. When your empire is built with your own two hands, what happens when one of them gets destroyed? In September 2020, the world was already on pause. COVID lockdowns had shuttered businesses, TV production had slowed, everyone was home, waiting, worrying, wondering. So was Buddy. He was spending time with his family in their Montville, New Jersey home. No cameras, no cakes, just quiet, until something horrific happened. That day, the Valastros were using their private bowling alley, a luxury Buddy had built for fun, for family. But one small jam changed everything. The pin setter malfunctioned. Buddy, always hands-on, went to fix it. No big deal, he'd done it before. But this time, it went very wrong. As he reached into the machine, a 1.5-inch metal rod shot forward, impaling his dominant hand. Let that sink in. Not cutting, not slicing, impaling. His cake-decorating hand, skewered by steel. He was stuck, bleeding, screaming. And then his teenage sons, Buddy Jr. and Marco, ran in. What they did next saved his life. They grabbed a reciprocating saw like something out of a horror movie. Together, shaking, they sawed through solid metal for over 5 minutes while their father's hand was still trapped. 5 minutes doesn't sound like a lot until your flesh is wrapped around steel. When they finally freed him, the damage was already done. Bones crushed, nerves shredded, flesh torn apart. Buddy was rushed into emergency surgery, but the nightmare was just beginning. He didn't have one surgery, he had 5, and even that wasn't enough. He later admitted, "I was scared. Not scared of the pain, scared that I was over, that the cake boss was finished." Because when your entire identity, your career, your passion, your legacy is in your hands, losing one of them doesn't just hurt, it shatters your sense of self. He had to relearn how to hold a spoon, squeeze a piping bag, grip a spatula. Every movement was therapy. Every day was rehab. The man who built a global empire was back to square one. People wondered, would he ever decorate again? But what they didn't know was this: Buddy had already beaten grief, panic attacks, scandal, pressure. This was just another fight, and he wasn't about to lose. Before the accident, before the surgeries, before the saws and the screaming, Buddy Valastro was already breaking, but no one knew it. Because when you're famous for holding it all together, your family, your business, your empire, what happens when you start to fall apart? Here's the truth. Long before the cameras caught his smile, they missed the panic behind it. Buddy was juggling it all. TV shoots, bakery deadlines, employees, branding deals, family life, and the expectations of millions. He was everywhere. Always on, always upbeat, until he couldn't breathe. Age 27, his first panic attack came like a freight train. Chest tight, vision blurred, heart racing like it would explode. He thought he was dying. Thought he was having a heart attack. He ended up in the ER, hooked to machines, doctors asking questions. And for a moment, the man who made it all look effortless was completely out of control. That moment, it terrified him more than failure, more than critics, more than pressure, because this wasn't something he could fix with frosting or a fondant rose. This was mental warfare. But like most men, and especially men in the spotlight, Buddy didn't talk about it. At least not right away. The stigma, the silence, the fear of looking weak, until eventually he did talk. And when he did, it was raw. He admitted that the weight of his responsibilities had built up quietly, like pressure behind a dam. And when it broke him. That moment changed him. Buddy started advocating for mental health, especially for entrepreneurs, creatives, and men in high-pressure roles. He told fans that strength isn't pretending you're fine, it's admitting when you're not. But just as he was finding balance, life threw another curveball, this time not internal, this time public. Which part of Buddy's story shocked you the most? Drop a comment, and if you want to hear more comeback stories like this one, click the next video.